Hello, my name is Brianna Sinclair, and this is my 30th week on HRT. Also, happy holiday, because it is going to be that week. On my channel, I post mostly transgender content at the moment, and if you like my content, please like, comment, subscribe to show me your support. And with that being said, let's get right into the video. Quick measurements update. My hips are at 34.25, my bust is at 35.5, and my waist is 25. So my measurements have stayed the same for the past 2 weeks. It looks like my hips are consistently getting bigger, because it's been a week since that measurement has essentially been confirmed. So I think I'm starting to see a little bit of like fat redistribution. I have like started to eat significantly more, and it's good to see you here. And kind of just intake more nutrients and stuff like that for my body to work with. My emotional state is very stable. I feel like there's a level of empathy that I am able to feel a little bit more as like time's really gone on. So I think that's a little interesting. So my curiosity peaks a little bit. I do think about things like slightly different, I feel like, in that whenever I want to know something, I want to know it in its entirety. So I want to know like more on things. I wouldn't just infer questions, I would ask questions. And maybe that's also due to me trying to learn to communicate better, and that's mostly for my relationship. So whenever like I do ask like questions and stuff like that, I incorporate like other things and stuff to help me understand a little bit better what the other person is going through, what like how they're viewing the situation, and I feel like it helps us come to a bit more of like an understanding and agreement. Hair reduction and growth, I honestly haven't noticed any real reduction between last week and this week. Overall, yes, it has like kind of faded a little bit across my entire body, with the exception of like the really coarse hair that I have along my face, my underarms, and my pelvic region. That is essentially where it doesn't really affect it as much. Breast growth. They do still hurt, especially when they're like bumped or touched. There is a little bit of pain. But it is still very like satisfying to like kind of see that yes, they're growing, yes, they're there. I don't think satisfying is the right word. I really feel like more affirming would be the right word. It does kind of get a little difficult at times, especially whenever I dress androgynously to hide them. People can see my bra through like my shirt and stuff, and it's a little uncomfortable, but whenever I dress femininely, it's, for the most part, it's kind of normal, because most of the time you can see like a female's bra like through her shirt, especially if it's like really tight and they don't care. so whenever I do dress femininely, since it's something I cannot change, I just accept it. Like, yeah. Fendi, you can join us? Come here, buddy. Fendi's back. Yeah, I just shut you out for a little bit. My fat redistribution, I do think, is starting to take place because I am burning a lot and I am also eating a lot, so I'm hoping that, like, whenever my body is burning the fat that my body has for energy, it is also burning it in the places that do give me a more masculine figure. And when it's depositing it in those places that would make me more feminine. And I don't know if that is, like, yet the case, but only time will tell. The journey to transition is a very long one, but it's also, like, it's also a very relaxing and, like, happy one. At least for me it is. And anyone that does start their transition, I do hope that they have at least as good of a time with their transition as I am with mine. Because it's taking on it's a chance to live your life the way that you should. And that's the way I look at it. I was never really meant to be a boy. If you watch one of the my reasons for transitioning video, it's very obvious that, like, I failed as a boy in every aspect. And that's fine, because being a boy just wasn't right for me. Being a girl is much better for me. My sex drive, still no change. It's very much normal. And still means as much as it meant to me before HRT. So the way I looked at sex was, it was a very it was a very special moment between me and another person. And now I just require, like, a strong emotional connection to even do that with someone. Without that connection, it doesn't really do me a whole lot. Like, I would probably still be able to perform, but I wouldn't enjoy it, and it wouldn't be, like, it just wouldn't be the same. But my sex drive, yes, is still annoying, but due to everything that's going on and everything going so well for me, it hasn't been as annoying as recently. Me being tired, yes, I still get tired. They did bump up my medication. I now take like 200 milligrams of spirolactone and 4 milligrams of estradiol. They did swap out my medication of spirolactone from the small 50 milligram tablets to a larger 100 milligram tablet. And I take 2 of those a day, and I take 4 estradiol pills every day. I split my spironolactone morning and night, so I'm not taking everything in all at once. But even this time, it's kind of weird. This time around, whenever they upped my medication, I didn't get tired as much. So I'm still just as tired as I was last week. And usually about this time, I have to start drinking energy drinks to get through the day, and then slowly wean myself off of them. I don't have to do that this time, so I think I've just kind of gotten used to the effects of either a low testosterone or it is my estrogen level rising so much that it is being converted to testosterone to give me energy to get through the day, which would kind of mean that my estrogen would be peaking, but I feel like since my spironolactone is a testosterone blocker, the testosterone isn't able to take effect as it usually would. And if it did, I would definitely expect my energy to come back, definitely expect my sex drive to somewhat increase a little bit. I would expect my breasts to start shrinking, and not that there's a lot there, there's not a whole lot to shrink, but I would expect them to shrink a little bit. I think that would be all the changes I would really expect, because my voice has already gone through what testosterone's done. My body's already gone through everything testosterone can do. So there's not much else that can happen. Muscle development. I have noticed that my muscles have decreased a little bit as far as volume goes. I don't really lift a whole lot of heavy things, so I don't really have a whole judge as far as by what degree. Whenever I do PT at the gym, or I go to the gym, I mostly run because I enjoy running. It's a way to get my mind off of everything, and I find it relaxing to just put music on and run 2 or 3 miles and stop from there. And then I join the guys in playing volleyball. If we play outside, it's usually ultimate football or ultimate frisbee, in which case I am definitely a menace on the field. I definitely do try my hardest at everything, and that's no exception. The last time I think we played ultimate frisbee, I ran into smack into someone, and I felt super bad because I knocked them to the ground, and I got knocked to the ground, but I just felt bad that I could have hurt that person. They were okay, and then that same game, I took a shot to the chest from the arm of one of my teammates. I was kind of behind him, and he was throwing the frisbee, and whenever his arm came back, it hit me across the chest, going this way, and I was super happy it landed right in between my breasts, because it would have hurt if it really hit them. And it was fine. It made a huge smack, and everyone thought I was going to die of like a heart murmur, but it was fine. This week I had some amazing news that I was happy to announce to my wife, and that's I did it. I finally got my exception to policy. My exception to policy is this little paper that I do intend to read and substitute certain words to kind of like protect my workplace. And yes, the reason it's so crinkled is because I pre-folded it in order to, one, fit it in my work pocket because I have to carry it, and two, so that way I may conceal what my workplace, what my career choice is. But it reads as follows. In response to reference alpha and in line with references Bravo through Delta, your request for an exception to policy to adhere to female and grooming standards in the workplace to include out-in-town clothing when not at work in advance of the gender marker change is approved. What that means is I can now abide by female standards at my workplace and out in town. Previously, I was allowed to get what is called RLE, or real life experience, to figure out if transitioning was in fact right for me. It was a little hard without the exception of policy because I can't grow out my hair. I can't do certain things like my makeup. I can't paint my nails. I can't do those things because I would still have to abide by male standards. But that's what that paragraph means. The next paragraph. This approval includes the following limitations. The exception to policy applies only to your place of work. Approved transition plan. If any circumstances change, operational or change of workplace, transfer to a new workplace not requiring a move, change of medical status, etc., you will need to seek a new exception to policy. If you are ordered to a temporary location or the personnel in charge of the temporary location may, if requested, agree to honor this exception of policy in part or in whole. In such a case, your permanent work location should coordinate with the temporary work location prior to your departure from your permanent work location. In order to ensure that you are provided with a memorandum signed by the gaining personnel in charge, their concurrence in honoring this exception to policy. The temporary command must also provide a copy of that memorandum to my point of contact below, and that is the contact. That is my exception to policy. That's what she reads. And that last paragraph means that if I go anywhere other than my current place of work, it is absolutely discretion of my boss to honor it or completely disregard it. So if I transfer and they do not like me abiding by female standards, I have to abide by male standards, so I would have to cut my hair. I would have to remove my nail polish, I would have to remove my makeup. I would have to get all male clothing and wear that to work. That is how my exception to policy works. I knew it was going to be that way, but in order to legally abide by my female standards at my place of work as well, I would need it. It does also give me permission to change my gender markers, which I am going to coordinate with my advocate with in order to do so. Because I recognize that it's going to be harder in the future. I'm not a female. I am a woman, but I am not a female. I think every transgender woman would agree with me that we are not females. We are women. We are transgender women. But that doesn't make us any less of a woman than anyone else. My exception to policy is something I've waited so long for. It took me 8.5 months to get it, and I couldn't have been happier to finally get it, because for the longest time I did think it had gotten lost, and that I would have to reroute it. But now that I finally have it, it's a huge weight lifted off my shoulders that I don't have to bear anymore. I know it seems silly that a small piece of paper could have such a large impact, but that impact affects, like, how I live. It's hard being both sides. You have to have 2 sets of clothes. You have to take a lot more into consideration than just an outfit. You have to choose, like, the gender of the outfit. That was the last one. That was the last obstacle that I had to get through everything. I can finally get rid of the remainder of my boy stuff. And I do look forward to growing out my hair and truly living and working as a woman. The other women in my place of work know, and they don't care. A couple of my coworkers know and have kind of hinted at it. They don't care. The ones that say transphobic things, I confront and tell them this is how it is. This is what we go through. Because they don't know. A lot of us are accused of being lazy because we are medically removed from doing certain things that we should be doing in our job. What is perceived is that it's a choice, and it's not. They were going to remove me, but since I am in my place of work isn't too strenuous at the moment, they didn't have to move me. So whenever we got someone new who had a transgender person removed because they were in a high strain like work environment, they complained about that. I said, that's not a fair complaint. They don't have a choice. If you want, like, them to choose something, I'm sure they would choose to come back and help the division. But it's not their choice. I wanted to stay because the people I work with, for the most part, are conducive to my transition. I work with people that don't give a damn. I live with someone who doesn't care. And I do have my little fur baby. And in both of my workplaces, no one really cares, with the exception of like a few people. I do get misgendered whenever I do dress androgynously because I don't wear all the clothes that I would like to, because I either don't have time to get ready at some points, or I can't wear what I would like to. There's a dress code at both my jobs, and I have very limited clothing that I can wear to both. And because I still have my massive Adam's apple, and I haven't had like FFS, my breasts are barely noticeable, so there's not really like any key in my voice, which is considered by many to be called like the second face, is still pretty masculine. I'm doing voice therapy, and this is where I'm at so far. My voice therapist is helping tremendously. I don't know if I'm picking up everything that she's giving me, but whenever I do practice, and these videos are a form of some of that practice, I do try to utilize like some of the tips and the tricks that I've been taught, because what I would like is to walk out into the world like a normal girl. This past week I went to my friend's Christmas party. I got all dressed up, and I'll show you that outfit next week, but I wanted to wear this one this week because it's the Christmas week. I went to her Christmas party. I dressed in the only pair of thigh-high boots I have, the only pair, well, not the only pair, but my favorite pair of like feminine jeans, and a shirt and a jacket that I got from, it's a place down in Florida called Kamala's Closet. They gather items that are donated, and they give them to expecting mothers and stuff like that, and minority groups. Being transgender is one of those minority groups because they recognize that building a wardrobe is an extensive task. A lot of your clothes, if you think about it, are given to you, bought for you, or handed down to you. Something that like maybe you wear for years at a time. Within the span of a couple years, I've had to rebuild my entire wardrobe. When I say a couple, I mean like 2. So not too many years. But whenever I went out in my outfit, I had to leave the party temporarily to go get pineapple juice and ice because there was a little drinking, and since I do like to bartend, I had to get a couple things so I can make I didn't know what we were going to make, but all I knew is that she liked pineapple juice and that's what she requested, so that's what I went to go get. We ended up making tequila sunrises with pineapple juice instead of orange juice. And they came out pretty good. I limit what I drink because I want to give my voice therapy the best shot it has, and caffeine, alcohol, soda and stuff is very bad for your vocal cords, and so I cut all of those out so that way I can focus on my voice therapy and hopefully sound truly feminine as soon as possible. I think my voice might truly be the last hurdle. But having my exception to policy is a game changer for me. When telling my wife about it, I cried on the phone because it didn't seem like it was ever gonna get here. And now that it's finally here, a lot of doors are opening up. I was told I might be being grandfathered in once Trump takes office, and I might be able to keep my job that way. And my advocate on the 6th wants 3 names of FFS doctors I would like to go to. I have 2. I need 1 more. And I have a lot of work to do. But because he did ask what order I wanted my surgeries. I told him FFS first. I do plan to pay for a BBL out of pocket. So that way I can kind of do a little body contouring in order to give me a more feminine figure, and then breast augmentation, because that one would be the most affirming. He did ask about SRS. I'm still on the fence with SRS, but I'm still pretty sure it's not for me. I don't like boys as much. Like, if I found a boy that truly treated me like I was a queen, maybe, but I'm already with someone, so that portion of my mind is completely closed off from everything. I don't really even think about being with other people, except whenever it's brought up about having an open or a polyamorous relationship. And I don't know a lot about a relationship like this because I do feel like a relationship would be between two people. And if you're giving attention to another person and the relationship doesn't work out, it could have been that changed had you been giving all of your attention to that one person, paying attention to them, catering to their needs as they would cater to your needs. You both growing together. I do see how having multiple people in a relationship is beneficial. I just don't know quite how, whenever it's put into play, how that works. Because I don't think negatively of the people that do. If anything, I think very highly that they're able to do that, because the amount of communication that would be required would probably be insane. So the fact that they can communicate enough to have like another person is impressive to me. I find that truly impressive, because the amount of arguments I've seen occur in a relationship are mostly due to like misunderstandings that could have been avoided by simple communication. That's my view on that. I'm sorry. My exception to policy still has a strong emotional connection for me, because even though it's just a piece of paper, this piece of paper that I have to carry around with changes how I present at work. This is a one-page document that has 2 paragraphs, technically 3, the third one's a contact paragraph. And that's what I was waiting on for 8.5 months. 8.5 months of me saying I still don't have it. And it's finally here. It honestly gives me a huge confidence boost, because it's a form of recognition that my transition is real. Not to me. I know it's real. But to those around me. Like, hey, this is something that's apparent. This is something that's true. This is something that is required. And it was a long time coming until I finally have it. I think that's enough for today, though. If you're watching this on Christmas, if you're watching this video, I hope you have a wonderful holiday. Have a fantastic New Year. And if you like my content, please like, comment, subscribe. Feel free to ask questions. Feel free to say your opinions. If you would like something that I haven't covered, if you'd like something more in line with a specific topic, please let me know. I would be more than happy to cater to that. But this is Brianna Sinclair, signing off.